So there's this milestone in investing that people talk about more than almost any other, more than 500,000, more than 1 million even in some circles. It's $100,000. And at first glance, that seems kind of weird, right? Why would $100,000 be the milestone that gets talked about so much when there are so many bigger numbers above it? Why not $500,000? Why not 1 million? But the more time I've spent learning about how wealth actually builds and what the psychology of investing actually feels like at different stages, sunset, the more I understand why this specific number gets treated almost like a sacred threshold. Because something genuinely changes at $100,000. Not just in the math, in you, in how you think, in how you make decisions, in how you sleep at night, in how you show up at work, in how you talk to your partner about money, in how you think about your future. And I want to walk you through exactly what that change looks and feels like, the math side and the psychology side, because I think both of them are important and most content only covers one or the other. So let's start with the math, because the math is actually kind of wild. Okay, so let's put some real numbers on this because I think seeing the actual figures is important. $100,000 invested in a broad market index fund, earning the historical average return of around 10% per year, grows by roughly $10,000 in a normal year. $10,000 just sitting there, growing, without you doing anything. Now, I want you to really think about what that means in the context of a real person's life. If you're making $50,000 a year and your portfolio is generating $10,000 in annual growth, your investments are producing the equivalent of 20% of your salary without you working for it, without you doing anything extra, just from having gotten to that balance and leaving it alone. That's the first time for most people that the money they've invested starts to feel like it's actually doing something real, something tangible, something that interacts with their actual life in a meaningful way. And here's what makes this milestone so psychologically important. Before $100,000, you were almost entirely your contributions, the money you're taking out of your paycheck and putting into investments, are doing most of the work. The market is helping, but you're the main driver. After $100,000, you have a second engine, not a replacement engine, a second one. The market is now contributing meaningful money on its own. And the dynamic of your investing life starts to shift from almost entirely dependent on your contributions to something more collaborative between your contributions and the market doing its thing. That shift matters more than the number itself. So Warren Buffett, and look, I know his name gets dropped constantly in investing content and it can start to feel like a cliche. But what he said about this specific milestone is worth actually understanding rather than just nodding at. He said the first $100,000 is the hardest. And he said it in a way that made clear he wasn't just talking about the accumulation difficulty. He was talking about something deeper than that. He was pointing at the fact that getting to $100,000 requires sustained, consistent behavior over years without the emotional feedback loop being strong enough to keep you motivated. The early years of investing are genuinely thankless in terms of how the numbers feel. Going from $0 to $10,000 takes a lot of effort and doesn't feel like much. Going from $10,000 to $25,000 feels slightly better but still slow. Going from $25,000 to $50,000 is real progress, but the growth from the market is still pretty modest, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a year in returns, which is nice but not life-changing. Going from $50,000 to $100,000, you're getting somewhere around $5,000 to $7,000 a year in market growth, getting warmer, but still mostly dependent on your own contributions. And then you cross $100,000 and something clicks. The compounding starts to become undeniable. The annual growth becomes real money. And the trajectory suddenly becomes visible in a way it wasn't before. That's what Buffett was pointing at. The hardest part isn't the math. It's maintaining the behavior through all the years where the results don't feel proportional to the effort. And once you cross $100,000, the results start to feel real and the behavior becomes much easier to sustain. Okay, so the math is one thing, but what I really want to talk about is what changes in your actual lived experience when you cross this milestone. Because this is the part I never see covered in investing content. Everyone talks about the numbers. Nobody really talks about how it changes you as a person. The first thing that changes is how you feel about your job. Before $100,000 invested, your job is essentially everything. It's your entire financial foundation. If you lose it, you're in real trouble almost immediately. That reality, whether you're consciously thinking about it or not, affects how you behave at work. You're less likely to push back on things you disagree with, less likely to turn down bad projects, less likely to have uncomfortable conversations with your boss, because the stakes of disrupting that income feel too high. After $100,000 invested, the dynamic shifts subtly but meaningfully. You still need your job. You're not financially independent yet, but the cushion is real enough that the worst case scenario, losing your job, is survivable without catastrophe. And that knowledge, even just sitting in the background, changes how you carry yourself. You negotiate harder for raises because you can afford to walk if necessary. You push back on things that are wrong because the consequences of being difficult feel manageable. You turn down projects that aren't good for your career because you're not operating from pure financial desperation anymore. The job doesn't own you the same way it did before. The second big change is in how you make spending decisions. Before $100,000, most people think about money in terms of what they can afford right now. Can I afford this thing? Does this fit in the budget this month? That's the framework. After $100,000 invested, something shifts in how you see purchases. You start thinking in opportunity cost in a way that happens almost automatically. You look at a $500 purchase and you don't just think about whether you can afford $500. You think about what $500 invested right now becomes in 20 years, which at average market returns is somewhere around $3,500. Is this thing worth $3,500 to me? That's the question that starts happening in your head. And sometimes the answer is yes. Of course, sometimes it's worth it. Life is for living and money is a tool, not a prison. But sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the thing you were about to buy without much thought suddenly doesn't seem worth $3,500 at all when you frame it that way and you put the money back. That mental shift from thinking about price tags to thinking about what that money could become is one of the most valuable cognitive changes that $100,000 creates. And it compounds. Because every time you make a better decision, you have more money working for you, which makes the next decision slightly easier. The third change is maybe the most profound one, and it's the hardest to describe if you haven't felt it. It's relief, like real, genuine, physical relief. A lightening of something that you'd been carrying so long, you stopped noticing how heavy it was. Most adults in their 20s and 30s carry this background financial anxiety that just never goes away, even when things are fine. Even when the bills are paid and the job is stable and nothing is actually wrong. There's this hum of what if. What if something goes wrong? What if I lose my job? What if there's a health thing? What if I'm behind and I'll never catch up? At $100,000 invested, that hum doesn't disappear completely, but it quiets down significantly. Because for the first time, you have something real behind you. Not just the plan of being careful and hoping for the best. Actual money, actual compound growth, actual momentum, and the absence of that constant low-grade financial anxiety, even just the reduction of it, makes everything else in your life better. Your relationships, your sleep, your ability to be present, your general mood and outlook. Money doesn't buy happiness, that's true. But financial security buys the absence of a specific kind of misery that is really hard to appreciate until it's gone. Okay, so I want to spend a minute on this because I think there are a couple of ways people mess up around the $100,000 milestone and their worth being. The first mistake is treating it like a finish line. $100,000 is not financial independence. It's not retire and do nothing money. At 4% withdrawal, it generates $4,000 a year, which is not enough to live on for almost anyone. What it is, and this is important, it is a launching pad. It's the point where the next 100,000 gets easier, where the compounding starts doing more of the heavy lifting, where the emotional experience of investing shifts from grind to momentum. But stopping here, or dramatically slowing down, because the milestone feels significant, is a mistake. The people who stop or coast at $100,000 are giving up exactly when the math starts working in their favor most dramatically. The second mistake is getting over. There's a real phenomenon. Reaching a significant milestone creates a feeling that you've beaten the system somehow. And that feeling can lead to taking on more risk than makes sense. experimenting with individual stocks, trying crypto, getting clever with the strategy that got you here. And sometimes it works. But the people who make it from $100,000 to $500,000 and beyond are mostly not the ones who got clever at $100,000. They're the ones who kept doing the boring thing that worked. The milestone doesn't change the strategy. It just confirms the strategy was right. Okay, I want to run some real numbers on this because I think people often have either an inflated or deflated sense of how long this actually takes. If you're investing $500 a month starting from zero and earning average market returns of around 10% per year, it takes roughly 9 to 10 years to hit $100,000. 9 to 10 years, which sounds like a long time. And in some ways it is. But think about what you're doing during those years. You're living your life, building your career, having experiences, and in the background automatically, without requiring much ongoing attention, you're building toward a milestone that permanently changes your financial life. If you can invest $1,000 a month, the timeline drops to roughly 6 to 7 years. At $1,500 a month, you're looking at around 5 years. At $2,000 a month somewhere, around 4 years. And look, I understand that $1,000 or $2,000 a month isn't accessible for everyone, especially early in a career. $500 a month is meaningful and real progress, even if the timeline is longer. But here's what I want you to notice about those numbers. The biggest lever isn't the investment strategy or the specific fund you choose or any sophisticated financial move. It's income. The more you can earn and the more of that earning you can direct toward investments, but while keeping lifestyle inflation in check, the faster you get there. Investing strategy is the vehicle. Income is the fuel. And you have more control over the fuel than most people give themselves credit for. Okay, so let's say you're at or near this milestone, or you're working toward it and want to know what the plan is when you get there. Here's the honest answer. You do exactly what got you there. Same strategy, same consistency, same boring automatic investment every month into the same broad market funds. The only change is that the compounding starts doing more of the work for you, which means the contributions you're making feel like they matter more because they're being added to a larger base that's already generating real growth. If you can increase your monthly contribution around this time, even by a small amount, the effect is magnified significantly because of the compounding base underneath it, and then you just keep going. Eyes on the next milestone, $250,000, then $500,000, each one easier and faster than the last because the base is getting larger and the second engine is getting stronger. The first $100,000 is the hardest. Every $100,000 after it is easier. Not easy, but easier. Here's what I want you to take away from this. $100,000 is not just a number. It's a threshold, a point where the entire experience of building wealth changes, where the math starts working more visibly in your favor, where the psychology shifts from grinding toward something invisible to watching something real happen. And the path to it is exactly as boring and unglamorous as it sounds. Consistent contributions, broad market funds, leave it alone, keep going. But the destination, that first moment you see 6 figures in your investment account, is worth every boring month of automated contributions that it took to get there. Because after that moment, the game changes. Not dramatically, not overnight, but permanently. And permanently is what matters.